So Nina, we're freezing.
We're freezing. It's really cold and very early in the morning.
It's really absolutely.
And windy.
Yeah.
But, let's warm up and talk about the state of data politics.
Yeah. By the looks of it, there's a bit of a rush going on in Brussels, right? It seems like
They're really speeding things up and
Yeah.
or trying to get a better and sustainable framework.
yes. It seems like for years we've been waiting for the e-privacy regulation, if you remember, to update e-privacy,
yeah.
you know, the cookie banners.
But
And-
it was always, like nothing really happened. It was just like changes and always in preparation, but never really came into a thing.
Yeah. And it got stuck.
Yeah.
They say, and I believe that it's because of the lobbying. So many.
I think so, yeah. I think this is why before we had nothing, then we had GDPR with the cookie banners, or we still have. But also I think this is not ideal, but this is what they came out with, and in the end, I also think because of lobbying.
Yeah, it seems like it is as if there's been a learning curve in the industry. So you have the GDPR that took many years, perhaps 8 or 10 years in the making. 28 countries agreeing on a common framework. That's heroic, to say the least.
Yeah.
So after seeing the impact it had on the industry, on big tech, on whoever can afford a proper lobby in Brussels, I'm not surprised that they could see whoever was going to be affected by e-privacy, which was going to touch the entire online advertising ecosystem, could feel that they need to push very hard to ensure that it wasn't going to destroy a multi-billion business, multi-billion-dollar or multi-billion-euro business.
Yes.
And so I understand that e-privacy, or that regulation, that update, has got stuck because of the lobbying. And so it seems as if now, in Brussels, the Commission, particularly this Commission, is in a bit of a rush to try and cut through the system and get things approved at the speed of light.
Which we urgently need.
Yeah.
I think. But what does it mean for the individual? What do we have? Will we have better protection and more information? I think this is what I often feel with the cookie banners, and it explains to you what a cookie is. But does that help me in any way where my data ends up? Not really. But will there be steps taken towards better education, more information on individual privacy?
Well, when it comes to the individual, I guess there's also the question as to how far do we go making a decision on their behalf. So in a way we're saying, yes, we need to rush it because we've got, we haven't been able to move with past ideas. But if we go too far on behalf of people, then we end up with a rushed, pile of laws that are going to curtail what people can do as well.
Yeah.
So is it really going to protect the individual that we keep on thinking that, that we need to do it all for them? Are we at risk of curtailing freedom by, simply...
That's an interesting question, yeah, but too many rules can ruin that and can make the people feel restricted and not being able to exercise their rights anymore. But
or having so many rights that you as an individual are burdened.
Burdened with the rights.
Yeah, with all the things you need to sign. I mean, an example is, again, consent. If you need to consent to everything because it is imposed on the system, that they need to get the paperwork in order, and the paperwork means bothering you to sign yet another form, how free, are you really free? Because you get to sign 10 more forms. So now, picture yourself now in a very near future, right? We're gonna walk into a bank and you're gonna sign an AI Act form because they want to train their algorithm with whatever you're giving them. they're going to come up with another sheet of paper. I'm just, sort of joking, but it could happen. For the, for the DSA, oh, you will agree to whatever else so that we can, we can be protected, since we are an aggregator or a very large online platform as per the law. Then you could have another form, which is, concerning the Data Act or data governance.
Yeah.
And then another form for the new e-privacy regulation if it sees the light. And then another one for the GDPR. So you sign up 5 forms. Are you...
At least.
Yeah. How free are you because you signed 5 forms?
Not really. Yeah, it takes then a lot of time and lots of bureaucracy. Shouldn't be the solution, not at all. But it's already with the consent banners. It's so annoying. Like to go on any website, first you have to click. You have to find the right button because very often it's well hidden to reject cookies, and then you have to. But you're not really given a choice, and then you have to click away newsletters and chatbots and whatever before you can get to the actual page and find that everything's behind a paywall. But
exactly.
So
yeah, so
this is annoying and it's not very helpful, and it also cuts away of your time. But not having the cookie banners means data can be collected without your consent.
Yes.
But in this also is, despite the cookie banners, it is being collected and
okay, so that's a very good one.
Consent. But then so we need better solutions, and I don't think law and regulation only will help us. But I think we just everybody needs to use their common sense.
Yeah.
To do better and well, we need more ethics.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, okay, so if the starting point is the law is on the one hand giving you control, right? And this is what we do with consent. And again, as you say, we may not be getting what we wanted in terms of control. People are not really feeling control. They are feeling annoyed and bothered, and they're agreeing to whatever is presented to them. Because as you say, no matter what you say, things are going to happen anyway. So that part of the law is not really working that well. But then something else the framework is giving you. So again, before we land into the ethical side, right? The law is also assuming that no matter what you consent to, you still need protection, because you may not, fully understand, right? There'll be certain instances where a platform, just because it is very large, as it happens as per the DSA or the DMA, they simply cannot be allowed to, to just ask you and keep going. So that's okay. We assume that people need protection, even protection from themselves, meaning from your own willingness to agree to things that will affect you, but you're unable to measure how much it will impact your future.
Yeah.
So again, the classical, comparison with people willing to sell their kidneys because there's good money in it, right? So we won't let them do it. So then there's the ethical side, right? There's an ethical dimension underlying the law, because the law has to be grounded on something.
Yeah.
How do you get to the ethical dimension? Because if it's just about your subjective sort of guardrails or your own limits, your moral sort of red lines, how does that get through into the law? What's your feeling?
An interesting question. I think very often ethics is regarded as something individual and very vague, and something more of a feeling or an intention than something really. And true, compared to the law, to strict and regulations that are quite definite and specific.
Yeah.
When we're ethics or not, but I think it differs from culture to culture, but it doesn't differ from person to person.
Yeah.
I think, for example, you and I would have very similar ethical standards when it comes to it's general behavior, and this is what I also mean with common sense. For example, and if you take like, say, for instance, you go out with friends for drinks, and you are the one who didn't pay a round for everyone. You didn't buy a round of drinks for everyone. Is that illegal? No. Is that morally questionable? Not really. It's not the nicest thing in the world, but it's not like, come on, it's your friend. Maybe you pay next time.
Yeah.
Whatever. But if you murder someone, that's illegal. And that's highly immoral too.
Yeah.
If you cheat on your partner, highly moral but not illegal.
Yeah.
So this is the frame that we are moving in.
Yeah.
Between, but this is why ethics are so important, because even though cheating on your partner isn't illegal, it's still it puts you in a position that doesn't make you feel good. Well, if you have a conscience, but
Yeah.
and yeah, the way most of us grew up is like, yeah, it doesn't make you feel, and others specifically makes them feel miserable, and you're being not regarded as a very trustworthy or reliable person.
Yeah.
And we all want to be, well, the majority of us, I believe, want to be done in a good light, want to be seen as trustworthy and characters of high moral value.
Yes. Okay, so there's the ethical dimension of you in your own light, meaning that something that makes you feel that you conform to things that you find morally acceptable, right? So within your own personal dimension, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as individuals, as human beings, there's things that we cannot accept, that we cannot do ourselves, because we will not feel, that we're respecting our own moral values, even before.
There are things that we don't want to do, that we don't want
to decide
how
what the
we
next-
won't ourselves want to be treated.
Exactly. So there's certain things that even if no one is watching, you just cannot do, because it breaks your internal laws. There's that. As you keep expanding that, then you reach out to the group, society, and there's things that you won't do because others will find them objectionable, right? Hopefully that's aligned with what you think as well. As you keep expanding, then you find different groups and different interests, and that's what happens when the law is made, right? When you agree on a legal framework, there's all of these interests sitting at the table.
Yeah.
And then you've got people that have their own, sort of moral duties, and then how they are matching those against their own interests. And all of these interests and moral duties are fighting each other to conform to a law they can agree on. So I guess, not to go in circles with that one, with ethics, but I'm thinking, because ethics is not, a natural law, something that is written, it's not the same for everybody, right?
No.
If, in fact, as we can say, in different cultures, the things that we find acceptable are very different. We're freezing, are we?
Definitely, yeah. But no, but it's
I guess as we walk, we'll,
just, yeah.
yeah. So that's the pond.
That's the pond.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so beautiful. There are several different ponds in here, and some of them you can swim.
Yes.
Yeah, but not this one, right? Or can you swim in that one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is the men's pond, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And the one next to is that working on.
Yes.
Yeah. No, but what I think we need, well, different cultures have different standards, different ethical, unwritten rules, if you will, but for example, the UK, Germany, and Spain, they're quite similar, or in Europe
Yes.
in general. But in the US, to pick up your remark from the beginning, I think when it comes to freedom, the definitions or the limitations are a bit different. I think for Americans, at least this is my perception, the freedom is of the utmost importance. And this is how, well, if you look at the history, how the country grew. This is what is ingrained into every American, that their freedom cannot be cut. But this is often used and laid out in different cases. I don't want to go into politics too much here, but and I think in Europe we have a different a notion of freedom.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yes. Yeah. I guess the fact that, you know, the US was made out of a revolution, right? And out of people escaping the very framework that we had, you know, the monarchies and whatever they escaped when the country was first formed, right? The fact that it's built on an individual's ability to rebel against the monarchy, right, and against the rules, and then to make their own rules and to, you know, be able.
And this vast country that is almost uninhibited, or just a very few people.
Exactly.
Who are so different from what you've known.
So it makes for a very different culture, and we're trying to come to terms with that, of course. Someone said recently that the problem with England was that the revolution hadn't happened in the country. It had happened elsewhere because it happened in America, and so they were stuck. This was someone in America, of course, saying this. Oh, your problem is that you're stuck, you know, with our revolution, which we had it. We had it for you on your behalf. You know, you never had it. So, but in the end, the reality is that we have this scenario. We've got all of these values that we've been inheriting for many years, and then we're trying to come to terms with, in this case, data transfers and different perspectives on what should be done with data. But perhaps I'm thinking to drive it somewhere more practical. So let's think of a way to drive it somewhere more practical, so you get some good ideas.
But I think more practical means really we need to empower people, individuals with more skills to enable them to decide what data they want to share and what time. And there are already different ideas. The BBC is, for example, experimenting with pods.
Yes.
And data halls.
Yes.
And not only the BBC, there are many different projects, and Tim Berners-Lee's Solid project, one of them, and many different companies working on that. But then I think the question of data and the data that you want to give and that you don't want to share, I think what needs to be done. Oh, look, there's someone swimming.
Yeah, that's where I swim. That's where Uncle swims.
That's where you swim. Yeah. Oh, wow. Now in this weather.
Yeah.
Not for me, but very cool. Yeah.
But I'm colder walking now than I am swimming there.
Swimming?
Yeah. Because once you're in, you get totally used to it, and then.
Do you want to speed up a little?
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. Just to warm up a bit, because I still have to talk. I sort of lost my temperature.
Print here.
yeah.
But this is where when we're standing on the hill for.
No, very good. Very good. Yeah.
No, I think we need, what people have to do.
Yeah.
Is to avoid this whole topic because it's so complicated.
Yes.
And to be a bit like not afraid is maybe too strong, but to really try to avoid it because it's inconvenient, and then you have to look really into what happens to your data, and this is scary.
Yes.
Because it really is like people who collect your data without your knowledge, who sell it to data brokers, and whatever happens. But how can we make this not scary for people? How can we find ways? For example, I'm exaggerating a bit here, but shouldn't we, instead of telling what a technical cookie is and what it does technically, write on those cookie banners, do you accept to be tracked? Do you accept your data to be sold to third parties? Do you accept us to send you information and keep you in our database, and invite others to use the database too to send you advertising or whatever? This is what this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Shouldn't this be written on those banners?
Yeah,
this is never going to happen because of the lobbying, and this will destroy.
No, it's a good example. I mean, Nina, that you're raising. So, the example of we could extrapolate from cookie banners what happens with everything, right? How do we inform people and let them help people understand the risks, and at the same time avoid scaring them? So that's a very hard balance.
Thin line.
Yeah. So you have, as of today, main issue we have when it comes to data ethics is that, and this is a huge challenge, people, society, if you ask around, everybody will say they are concerned about their privacy. Of course, if you ask anyone on the street, are you concerned about your privacy? Oh, sure, my privacy is very important.
I was talking the other day to a friend, and he said, why don't you just do that? Go on the street, make a report, and ask people on the street, are you concerned about, or what do you know about cookie banners? And not very much. I don't think this, we will have to see, but I think that would be very interesting.
But then go and ask them whether they would be willing to give up their Instagram account. Yes. And nobody would ever, most people would say, well, I don't know what the challenges are. You can then tell them, look, there was a data leak, right? And Instagram account or, email addresses per the latest sort of news and phone numbers were leaked, right? How do you feel about that? Oh, it's outrageous. Fine, what will you do about it? Well, nothing. I want my Instagram account.
Yeah.
So
until it happens to you, and then it's like, oh my God, I never thought it would happen to me.
But it's not only that, it's also the fact that it's very hard to understand the real impact of such data leak. Because today you may think, oh, it's just my phone number. Okay, it's a shame. Maybe someone will call me and bother me, but that's it. The problem is that understanding the real future implication of a data leak today takes a better view, a better understanding of the possibilities of data analysis, of AI, of future uses of this data. And how do you get people to understand it, right? Unless you start going very deep into speculating with, what future actors may do. So it's not easy.
No, it's not easy, but I think this is not only an EU digital strategy responsibility, or just the government, policymakers' responsibility. It is, on the one hand, each of our own responsibility to try to protect our data better. And then, like I said before, we need to be, everybody individually needs to be enabled to do so. And to do this, the industry can really help, can make things better. Not only because it's the right thing to do, and not only because the industry consists of people who also want to have their privacy protected, but because it is an actual advantage.
Yeah.
Because in e-commerce, in retail, how can you compete? How can you set yourself apart from competitors?
Yeah.
I think you can do this through value, through adding value to your products and services. You cannot compete in price. Giants like Amazon will always be cheaper, and will always offer a similar product.
Yeah.
Or someone will invent a similar product, then you have just come out with or will follow shortly. So you cannot offer different products or a different price, a cheaper price.
Yeah.
But you can add value, and value doesn't mean only more sustainability, more transparency when it comes to supply chains and how you pay your workers, and showing environmental responsibility. You can also do this by offering higher data protection.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good one. So there's like different there's beautiful happy dogs around here. So and you know the ladies pond is here, so you would go in that, you know, you can't see it, but it's right behind. That's the ladies pond. Very exotic. Also surrounded by trees and bushes.
Maybe when it's a little bit warmer. I've never done this. I'd probably get a heart attack.
You would love it. You would love it. So I'm thinking that this all these different layers, right, to ethics, to getting this to work. So what do we want? Let's sort of rethink, or let me sort of regroup my thoughts, to put it like that, right? What do we want? We want the world to
be a better place.
To be a better place. Okay, of course, like everybody. So, but we want to improve things when it comes to the way I see it, protecting freedom and protecting our future. I always think about freedom and how whatever data you expose today will eventually have an impact on your choices, on your ability to choose. Because that's, again, that will define whether you can get insurance, whether your children can access a university, precisely because of things that you are sharing today, and you can't really see what's going to happen. There's no way you can measure today what will happen tomorrow, because you can't, you know, there's no way you can foresee who's going to be around the corner gathering all that data. Look at facial recognition data or whatever. There was this anecdote that I heard, pretty funny. The Prime Minister of Australia took a picture of his boarding pass, and I think he sent it on Twitter or Instagram or something, saying, "Oh, I'm flying out." And the boarding pass had an ID, you know.
The QR code?
Well, perhaps underneath the QR code. I don't think they said that. I heard it in an AI podcast. And so apparently someone looked at the picture and took the reference number into the Qantas airline website, and together with some additional basic information that everybody has, because he's the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister flies
of
Qantas?
Australia, yeah.
Yeah, they have like their own airplane.
You mean like a Prime Minister official airplane?
Yeah.
Well, they have an Australian airline, so I guess.
One.
Yeah, perhaps he was showing off that he was using a public, civil airline.
Sorry, go on.
But anyway, so he went to the Qantas website and he could access the portal where you can modify your flight. You know, the flight had already happened, so he couldn't, mess with the Prime Minister's flight. But he could see all of his data about the Prime Minister that wasn't public. And he looked at the source code of that page, and the Qantas website was sending this chunk of data that was hiding in the source code as a JSON file call, and that included plenty of information, and it was in the source code. So
Qantas has a problem, I would
well,
say.
the thing is not just Qantas, is that there's a lot of people out there working with data. A developer wants the feature to work, right? For you to be able to change your flight, whatever, edit your details, and they're hiding some of the information in there so it loads up faster as you want to, edit your account or whatever. So it's an example. Who has a role to play here? And first we've got people, right? As individuals, we need to know that this is not a joke. So the first thing is, yes, we don't want to scare anybody, but in a way, there's no easier way to educate society than being scared, because things like Cambridge Analytica see the light. At the same time, I'm not too happy with documentaries like, The Great Hack, if that was the name, or the social dilemma. I think they go a bit too far. They are portraying, for example, the social media or advertising industry in too bad a light.
I don't understand really what the point is. They say they want to expose it, but what they do is fear mongering, I think.
And it's simplifying, oversimplifying.
Oversimplifying. And then when the vast or a lot of people do not have sufficient information what really happened, and then they see that movie, and then it's like, or the documentation, and they're like, oh my God. And this creates more fear than it really helps to educate people. This is not helping at all.
Exactly. And then and what's the consequence, right? Even if you thought, okay, well, maybe, again, perhaps there was no, ethics plays a role there too. Like when you do a documentary like that, are you being true to what you know and to your own values? Or are you going after the final goal, which is getting people scared so they, so they stop sharing their data in a foolish way? But
then this sometimes then feels to me like, without sufficient information, what can I do? I cannot be on the internet then at all anymore when I'm being spied and tracked anyhow. So people go for either, I give you everything, I accept all the cookies because I don't have nothing to hide. Versus I cannot use the internet at all anymore. Either way is extreme and not really helpful. Because the internet and all these software technologies have so much to offer and so many beautiful developments, and I'm not saying that connectivity, the constant connectivity and the constant being able to reach anybody all the time is always helpful. But like you said to me before I arrived, when I asked you, like, can I bring you anything from Germany? And you said, well, this is something that I haven't been asked in a long time because of globalization, because of the connectivity, so many more products and services are available out there that were used to be obtained locally only.
But the internet has all these benefits. We want society. As a society, we've benefited. So, being able to exchange, information about ourselves, being able to buy things, abroad, it's been an advantage. And I guess so. Going back to how everything connects to the legal framework, right? We wanted to set basic rules to make sure that as we keep going, as the world becomes smaller and you start buying from anywhere and you start, as a business being able to address consumers anywhere else, that, we have basic rules that protect our future. Of course, the problem we found, and this is, I think, the essence of where we are in terms of the data ethics challenge and the privacy challenge, is that as the world becomes smaller, then our moral values do not coincide with those of other countries.
Sorry, I was looking up because look at the sky.
Now it's beautiful. Now it's patched.
Really going to be beautiful today.
So you know, so of course, this is the most interesting part to me, is that we have our values as a society. You may have them in a country, even at European level, and you agree that there's certain things that we will not do with people's data, and that there are certain things that could happen, that we're all aware that could happen. So we'll make sure they won't, by ensuring that data is only kept for a certain time, etc. Now, you go into the world and you're selling to the US, and you're accessing US media or Chinese media or Japanese media, right? Or media from Indonesia. The values in these countries are not necessarily worse than anybody's, right? It's just a different set of values. So if your moral ground, if you know what you believe is right, is being respected, you know, your practices respect what you believe is the right thing to do, then you're not really being unethical when it comes to your beliefs, right? No. But because there's no common grounds, then again, as you were saying earlier, how do we ensure that we can align everybody's principles when your beliefs are not being respected elsewhere, but yet you want to trade with that separate country? How do we do that?
Good question. You tell me, I don't know.
Here comes terms, right? And all of these challenges we have these days. So we're saying, well, in the US, you know, people will not understand this problem we have with a US government being able to, you know, access, you know, Facebook logs, because they think, you know, that information is going to be doing much harm, or because they think that that's a risk you need to take. You want to be protected by the state or whatever. And then it goes the other way around. Americans come over to Europe with their data and they think, why should I go through so many hurdles? Why do I need to accept all these silly questions, all these silly pop-ups in Europe? You know, they do nothing.
No. An American website, nothing.
Yeah.
They assume you accept everything.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, what happens then to the data? It's European data on here, so what rule applies? Well, European GDPR protection that is supposed to protect European citizens.
Yeah.
Or American protection because it's on American ground and then American law applies.
Yeah.
This is a dilemma. Yeah, I don't know what the solution for that will be, but I think this is something that will be around for a little longer before there's any solution.
Yeah. So perhaps, you know, the ultimate answer will be that relying on moral values is shaky ground, because they depend a lot on every society, every individual, and you know, everybody's red line is constantly moving as you evolve. You know, as your red lines could be moving in any direction, right? I'm not saying that you become more tolerant or less ethical or less moral. I'm just thinking that everyone, you know, and every culture evolves in different directions. It's happening with, you know, with everything. So with, like, you know, the environment. So if that's the case, then we need to be perhaps more practical and finding a way that protects people from the future we can envisage today. So when it comes to basic data ethics, what I'm thinking is, by making sure that we only, this is, I think, a pretty safe sort of rule. If we only collect the data we're gonna need, right? That we know we need for whatever
but who defines what data we need? Like, if you look at legitimate interest, it's only in the interest of the business, never in the interest of the individual.
Yeah.
It should be both. It could be both.
Oh, it's a balance.
Also in the individual's interest to find the products and services, but from a retail perspective, they want, and to be able to search and filter and sort the results by what they need, what they are looking for. And also sometimes be stretched, not relying on only recommendations based on previous purchases. Like if I have a washing machine, I don't need another one.
Yeah.
Classic example, and I don't need to be shown another one.
Yeah.
Or if I buy a present for someone else, things that I'm personally not interested in at all. I don't need to find this in my purchase history forever.
Yeah.
But sometimes, if I look at streaming services, for example, it would be interesting not to be recommended films and TV shows that I've been watching and that are sort of similar. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think it's just ridiculous. But to be shown something that I don't know about, to discover something new, something that I'm unfamiliar with, to spark my creativity or curiosity. I think there's no recommendation and just, there is no place for curiosity, for being curious, for discovering something. Everything is convenient, everything is brought to you. People get lazy. And
so we used too much data, you think?
We use too much data.
Yeah.
On the one hand, but on the other hand, I know lots of data is needed, except personal data.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, the question is, first of all, have we taken data too far? That's a good question. Perhaps we're using too much of it, not because, in the sense of, oh, you didn't need personal data for this, but because perhaps we are assuming that everything will be better if it's data driven. And now we realize that data is not so magical, that we've idolized data. That could be the case. I still think we clearly do see the benefits of machine learning these days for many things, of AI, and we do see the benefits. It's, many things are improving thanks to that. We can see that, like automated translations, blind people being able to read lips with these new glasses, and, medicine, new, products and services that could have never seen the light. All of these tools for creators. I can see the benefits. The question is, there's no end as to how much data you could be gathering to improve a service, to train a machine learning algorithm. There's no limit. The question is, should the limit be what you can envisage today? So if today you know what you want to do, and it doesn't have to be legitimate interest, it could just simply be, what's the purpose? So more than the debate about the balance with, the individual's, rights and freedoms, the idea is, if what you want to do is design, I see people running here, like new running shoes, right, that perform better by measuring, right?
Yeah.
That last longer by measuring the way everyone who's wearing them, is running, and how long they run and whatever. If you collect data points from all of the runners in this park, what is the limit? Well, the limit is you just wanted to improve, the shoes in terms of how long they last. Do you need to record location for that? Perhaps not.
No,
you need to record.
You need to know what grounds they were running, like what soil they were running on.
Yeah.
Or was it concrete, or was it just, plain earth, or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't need to know where they were running.
No,
Maybe
you
you
don't.
need to know about the temperature. Very cool.
Exactly. Exactly.
Let's take a seat there.
Yeah.
And look at the beautiful city wakening up, or maybe it has woken up already.
Yes, it has. Yeah.
Oh, London, I think never really good. Mighty here. Shall we take another one there?
Yeah, that's drier. Yeah.
Memory of David Roebuck, architect. 30th September 1946 to 1985.
Yeah. It's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing to dedicate a bench.
Yes, there are lots of benches here. I saw one the other day. Hello. Hello. Do you want to sit on the bench too? Huh? That's nice. What funky dog.
In a mess of itself.
There was another bench down by the pond somewhere that's had in memory of, I forgot the name of someone really nice apparently, for the use of all, for the benefit of all. So this bench was there for everybody.
Oh, that's very cool.
No, but what a beautiful way to start the day.
Yes.
A walk.
Yeah.
In the cold. Yeah, wonderful. I feel fresh and invigorated and
Yes.
so inspired with so many new ideas. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah. We may need to do a few more tours.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. This is a topic we can talk about forever, and it's not gonna end. But it's evolving, and things are happening.
Yeah.
I think people are claiming their rights, are demanding more rights and more information, and the government and the EU is acting on it, trying to make safeguard people better, so they can move around in the internet more safely or more protection, better protection.
Yeah.
Or at least this is my hope. I'm very optimistic.
Yeah, I only hope. I'm very optimistic about the prospects. I think people are, by nature, sort of waking up to the fact that we need to be careful with data. As consumers, I think we are getting better. As businesses, everybody's becoming much more ethical. I really think that it's a natural flow. I don't think we need, plenty of others sort of slapping on our wrists. I think people really, by nature, want to do the right thing.
Mikko.
I might be the missing person.
Hello, you are the missing person, yeah.
So I think I got the timing wrong.
All right, how are you?
Hi.
Sergio, nice to meet you.
Hi, Mikko.
How are you? Pleasure. I'm Angel's brother, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking like, is Angel here or not? But
all right. He was here for a while, yeah.